Well, from suspect to defendant, a local woman is charged with attempted murder.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at infamous times when rude, entitled, and self-centered people attacked men and boys, only to get a delicious dose of consequences.
No, I'm not letting him walk away with my phone!
This is the video that initially went viral. The hotel apologized, but acknowledges they could have done more.
Construction Karen. In 2023, Luis Cervantes was working on a construction site in Santa Barbara, California, when he spotted Jean Umana walking around the private property. Since that's pretty dangerous and illegal, he went to tell her to leave. But Umana wasn't having that.
You don't have the permit to come into a private property.
Oh, arrest me.
Huh?
On top of saying she's American and implying she can do what she wants since she lives there, Umana called Cervantes Tijuanan. When he called out her racism, Umana attempted to grab his phone aggressively.
Thank you for being racist. Thank you.
I am very, very much against people who break our laws.
She also stated she was a cop, which is obviously not true. The community rallied behind Cervantes and protested Umana's actions. Shortly after, a video emerged of Umana from a similar earlier confrontation with a street vendor. Umana was eventually charged with trespassing and battery.
Police had recommended the DA's office consider a hate crime charge, but that was not included in the criminal complaint.
Pumpkin beating. Karens have a habit of making their racism known at any opportunity. In November 2023, while a black man was speaking to a neighbor in Lewiston, Maine, Andrea Ouellette approached.
Who was accused of racist, verbal, and physical attacks against two black neighbors that included threats of, "I will effing kill you."
After yelling racial slurs and telling him to go back to his own country, she threw a pumpkin at him, which caused several injuries that required surgery.
The man required surgery to fix his nose and sinus cavity, and he missed multiple weeks of work during recovery.
But she wasn't done there. In January 2024, Ouellette was accused of accosting a black woman who had parked her car near Ouellette's residence. She responded by holding a knife while screaming racial slurs and threats. The following month, Maine's Attorney General issued a complaint against Ouellette under the state's Civil Rights Act, banning her from interacting with their victims or their families.
She needs to face really severe penalties. And so I just don't see what investigation needs to continue for them to even charge her. It's all right in front of them.
Coffee chaos.
Wild scene out of the Atlanta airport over the weekend. Take a look at this.
Arguments happen in workplaces. But instead of finding a middle ground and understanding her coworker's perspective, Shakoria Ellie took a far more aggressive approach. Working at the Harvest and Grounds coffee shop in Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, she got into a disagreement with a colleague. Ellie became so enraged, she needed to be held back by the managers.
The whole thing started over an argument between two employees until things got physical. You can see managers trying to hold her back.
However, that only made it worse as she attacked them and demanded her possessions, even attempting to throw a chair. When things seemed to be cooling off, Ellie pounced over the counter to retrieve her things before heading out. Probably the most unsurprising consequence ever, Ellie was fired from her barista role as a result.
No word yet if any charges have been filed.
Hot coffee assault.
An egregious act of hate. And tonight, she's in the custody of the New York Police Department.
In 2023, Ashish Prashar was playing with his young son at a playground in Brooklyn, New York. Well, not on Hadasha Karavani Bozak's watch. After seeing that Prashar was wearing a keffiyeh around his neck, she exploded in a racist rage, thinking he was Palestinian and an extremist when he actually has Indian heritage. Thankfully, Prashar recorded the terrible incident. Karavani Bozak screamed at the father and toddler to leave as though she owned the playground, then threw her phone and hot coffee at them. She awkwardly went to retrieve the cell while issuing more demands and anti-Muslim expressions. Karavani Bozak was soon arrested and charged with several crimes, which she pleaded not guilty to.
You know, this hasn't just impacted me and my family. Children around here have had to ask questions about whether they're safe. You know, parents have had to have difficult conversations with children who've asked, is my dad safe because he's brown?
Taco Karen.
Fists fly and tempers flare. A taco vendor is attacked.
It's a concept that isn't hard to understand. When you order food, you need to pay. In 2023, Renee Latrice Hines had been using the services of a taco stand in Los Angeles, California. After not paying several times and dashing off, she was denied service on this occasion. Rather than apologize for her past misdeeds and make amends, Hines had a monster of a tantrum as she attacked the worker, even using pepper spray.
When she finished spraying me, she started throwing everything, and then she grabbed me and started to hit me. She pulled my hair and then punched me in my shoulders.
When the stand owner tried to record her car's license plate, she threw the stand's advertising board at him.
It's very dangerous to be out here, but we have to work and make money to pay the rent and support our families.
On top of being arrested and charged for her attack, Hines was dropped as a temporary contract worker for USEN Logistics America.
I just want her to pay for what she did. They need to put her in jail and fine her.
Escalation Karen. During a sweltering day in 2022, Faye Johnson went paddleboarding at a park in Bristol, England with her children. However, nearby, a large group of 30 kids had some of them throwing mud and rocks at those enjoying water sports. Furious, Johnson approached the group. Vastly escalating the situation, she struck Antoine Forrest on the forehead with an oar, leaving a permanent scar. To make it worse, there's no evidence he was one of the ones throwing items. After outrage that the police did nothing about a white woman injuring a black boy while ignoring the white kids, they eventually arrested Johnson. In 2023, she was handed a 4-month sentence, suspended for 6 months, and had to pay Antoine £500 in compensation. Kasino Karen. In 2021, Rawless Devon Leslie Jr. was a hero after he helped save a woman's life when she prepared to jump from a bridge in Bossier City, Louisiana. In 2023, the U.S. Army veteran was enjoying himself at the slot machines in Margaritaville Resort Casino. However, when Ashley Dyson and her partner sat next to him, it soon made his enjoyable night terrible.
So now I just got hit.
The intoxicated woman, with a smirk on her face, was recorded yelling racial slurs as a member of the staff and her partner attempted to restrain her as she struck Leslie and later tried to kick him. When Leslie had the audacity to ask for security, the partner turned on Leslie and also uttered slurs. The couple were later arrested and charged. Prison chief goes to prison.
Now, Richard Spencer was subjected to a campaign of abuse by his wife, Cherie, for 20 years.
Karens tend to be a walking billboard of hypocrisy. For example, Cherie Spencer, working high up in England's HM Prison and Probation Service, she was leading reforms in the system. Yet behind the scenes, she was abusing her husband, Richard, for 20 years. On top of financially controlling him and making him rack up lots of debt, Cherie verbally and physically attacked him regularly, even leaving permanent injuries. She used the threat of telling the police he was abusing her to keep him quiet as he feared losing access to their 3 children.
And during an instant, she'd open a window and she'd shout out of the window, "Stop it, Richard, you're hurting me."
But when Richard's friends saw nanny cam footage of the attacks, they went to the police. In 2023, Cherie was sentenced to 4 years in jail.
What, you think if you hadn't had that footage, maybe it would have been more difficult to...
I think so, because she's a really good liar. She's told lots of lies and people believed her.
Brick attack.
Well, from suspect to defendant, a local woman is charged with attempted murder.
In 2018, Rodolfo Rodriguez was going for a walk in Willowbrook, Los Angeles, California. Primarily living in Mexico, he was visiting family in the area, as he often did. However, when Rodriguez, who was in his 90s, went past LaQuisha Jones and her daughter, the nice walk went bad. For no apparent reason, Jones pushed Rodriguez, then struck him with the brick several times, causing multiple injuries, including a broken jaw. Jones also yelled, "Go back to your country." She then told a group of men that Rodriguez tried to take her daughter, and they began kicking him.
When I take the picture, she say, "Oh,
He tried to touch my girl.
In 2019, as part of a deal, Jones pleaded no contest to felony elder abuse and was sentenced to 15 years in jail.
Jones' sentence sends a message to those who mistreat the elderly. Ms. Balborjas agrees.
I feel better, if you doing something like that, you have a consequence.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. SoHo Karen. A lot of us have misplaced a prized item, but not many of us have accused a black teenager of pocketing it and then tackled them in the lobby of a hotel.
No, I'm not letting him walk away with my phone!
This is the video that initially went viral. The hotel apologized, but acknowledges they could have done more.
But that's what Maya Ponsetto did in 2020 at the Arlo Hotel, Soho in Manhattan, New York. Looking for her phone, she accused the son of musician Keon Harold of stealing it. As it turned out, he hadn't taken it, and her phone was found by an Uber driver she'd used before. After a disastrous interview with Gayle King that turned people against her further in 2022, Ponsetto took a plea deal.
It didn't seem as if my accusations really bothered the son and the father, because they were just enjoying a nice meal right after this whole encounter.
She received 2 years of probation and had to continue counseling that she began after an earlier DUI.
Any regrets, Maya?
I'm good, thank you.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.